All right, let's find a comfortable seat. Having a blanket or cushion under the hips to help support the spine and be able to extend the spine up a little higher. And we'll begin by rubbing the palms of our hands together, bringing focus and energy into the palms. And then take the fingertips and gently brush them across the forehead, temples, and cheeks, brushing away any worries or expectations. Bring the fingertips to the eyes, palms to the cheeks, turning your attention inward. And take a couple of deep cleansing breaths. When you're ready, you can float your hands down, either keeping your eyes closed or gazing softly downward. Send your spine up tall, shoulders back and down. Lift your heart with each inhaling breath. Allow the sitting bones to sink down toward the earth. And if you'd like, you can drop a grounding cord in your imagination from your tailbone all the way down into the earth, securing you and rooting you to the earth with your energy. We'll tune in with 3 ohms. Feel free to join in or just absorb the vibrations. Take another deep breath in. Take a moment to absorb the vibrations of the mantra as it connects us all as one. Allow yourself to settle here this Saturday morning and set an intention for your practice, something you'd like to nurture or cultivate within yourself. As you come to your next inhaling breath, allow the belly to soften and expand. And as you exhale, draw the belly toward the back. Follow your body's rhythm, expanding on the inhale, contracting on the exhale. With your next inhaling breath, expand the belly and open the ribs, reaching them out to the sides. And as you exhale, contract the belly and relax the ribs. Follow your body's rhythm. With your next inhaling breath, expand the belly, open the ribs, and lift the chest, creating space for your heart. And as you exhale, contract, relax, and lower. Continue this full deep breath, expanding your lungs in all directions with each inhale. Completely releasing the breath with each exhale. As we continue this full deep breath, let's gently shift into the Ujjayi ocean breath. We'll increase the intensity of the breathing in and out by concentrating the breath at the back of the throat. We can begin that process with first drawing the breath in forcefully to the back of the nostrils, and then breathing out forcefully. Now to the back of the throat, and exhale, back of the throat. And breathing into the full back of the body, and out. And finding that focus spot that feels most amenable for you today as you continue the practice of Ujjayi breath. Take one more full Ujjayi breath. And when you reach the end of the exhale, gently return to your natural breath. Noticing any changes you feel in your mind or body. Remembering that our breath is always with us to help find those moments of peace and calm. Bringing your awareness to your right hand, allow the tips of the thumb and pointer finger to come together and bring those fingertips to your heart center. Turning your attention deeper inward towards your heart, looking within for your inner light and your inner joy. As you find that connection with the light within you, allow its warm glow to flow on the breath throughout your entire body. As you find that connection with your inner joy, allow it to radiate up onto your face in a smile. And breathe it out into the space around you. As we continue our practice, allow your light and joy to flow through each breath and movement, honoring all that you are in each moment. When you're ready, you can float your hand down, gently open your eyes. If you'd like to change your legs or change positions, please go ahead and do what feels right for your body right now. All right, for some reason it keeps dripping. I need to tighten that a little. All right, well, I don't know if that was any better. All right. So with your next inhaling breath, let's scrunch our shoulders up by our ears. And as you exhale, press the shoulders back and down. Inhale, lift and squeeze. Exhale, back and down. Once more, lift and squeeze. And back and down. Bring the hands in front of the chest, palms facing down, tucking the shoulder blades down, gently holding them in place, strengthening the muscles around the scapula. Now gently pressing the elbows back toward each other, lifting the heart, squeezing the center of the shoulder blades toward each other, wringing out any tension. Then opening the arms wide, turning the palms up. Lift the heart a little more if that feels okay. Draw the lower corners of the shoulder blades toward each other. And if it feels okay, pressing through the palms, flexing the wrists, breathing into the heart. And let's bring the arms in front, crossing the right over the left, bending at the elbows, hands back to back, or left hand around the right wrist, or hands at the shoulders. Elbows up to shoulder height, dropping the shoulders away from the ears. Breathing into the upper back as you gently squeeze the arms together or push the elbows away. And gently lower and lift the elbows with the breath. And with your next inhaling breath, if it feels okay, lift the elbows a little higher, gently arching. And as you exhale, rounding, dropping the arms, breathing into the upper back, releasing the back of the neck. And with your next inhale, come back to center. Excuse me. Let's release the hands and bring that left hand to the right shoulder, extending the right arm out across us. You can slide the hand down to the upper arm, gently pulling the arm across the body. Heart stays lifted. And if it feels okay, you could turn your chin over your right shoulder. Softening with the exhale. And bringing the head back to the center, we'll bring the left hand to the right elbow, and then bring that right elbow up over the head, bringing the right hand to pat ourselves on the back if that feels okay. Lengthening through the spine, reaching up through that right elbow. Can stay here, or if it feels okay, beginning to pull that elbow to the left, a little bit behind the head. And then we'll gently release and open the arms wide again, pressing through the palms. And bringing the arms in front. This time, left crosses over the right, bending at the elbows, hands back to back, or left hand around the right wrist, or hands at the shoulders. Elbows up to shoulder height, dropping the shoulders away from the ears. Breathing into the upper back. If it feels okay, you can begin lowering and lifting the elbows, extending that stretch around the shoulders. And with your next inhaling breath, gently lifting the elbows up and arching. And as you exhale, rounding the spine, dropping the chin, letting the weight of the arms open the back. And with your next inhale, come back to center. We'll release the hands, bringing the right hand to the left shoulder. The left arm extends out across the body, and then bringing that hand to the upper arm as you gently stretch the arm across the body. Extending the spine tall, softening the shoulders. If it feels okay, turn your chin over your left shoulder. Coming back to the center, slide the hand to the elbow, and bringing that left elbow up by the side of the head, patting ourselves on the back. Can stay here, or if it feels okay, gently pulling the elbow behind the head. And then we'll gently release. Let's go ahead and take our straps for a moment, and we'll bring it behind us, taking hold about shoulder width apart if that feels okay, a little closer if that feels okay for your body. Lifting the spine, rolling those shoulders back, squeezing the shoulder blades together as you lift the heart. And then gently begin to lift the arms behind you, just as far as feels okay. Stay here, or if it feels okay, you can fold forward, bringing the forehead to the floor or a block, and letting the arms drop over the back of the head. Again, just as far as feels okay, and you can widen the arms as much as you'd like. And with your next inhale, pull with the hands, lifting the up, and then release the strap. Let's make some circles with our wrists. And then we'll bring the hands to the heart, interlacing the fingers, pressing the palms out in front. Roll the shoulders forward, round the spine, drop the chin. With your next inhale, lift the palms up over the head. And as you exhale, drop the chin toward the chest. Soften the elbows, roll the shoulder blades back toward each other, gently squeezing the upper corners of the shoulder blades. Releasing the jaw and the back of the neck. And if it feels okay, pressing the palms a little higher. With your next inhale, lift the chin. And as you exhale, gently twist to the right, floating the hands down, left hand to the knee, right hand behind the hip. Lifting the heart with your inhale, twisting through the ribs with your exhale. Head comes around last. Keeping the left hand on the knee with your next inhale, bring the right arm up by the ear. And as you exhale, reach across the body. Right hip drops toward the mat, lift the heart, fingertips reaching across the sky. And with your next inhale, lift up tall. And as you exhale, come back to the center and take a breath in and out. We'll interlace the fingers, inhale the arms up over the head. As you exhale, twist toward the left, floating the hands down, right hand to the left knee, left hand behind the hip. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, gently twisting. Head comes around last. Hold and breathe. Keeping the right hand on the knee with your next inhale, lift the left arm up by the ear. And as you exhale, reach across the body, lifting the heart, reaching through the fingertips, chin is gently away from the chest. Left hip drops toward the mat. And with your next inhale, come back to center. And take a breath in and out. Let's extend our legs out in front of us. I'm bringing our feet down toward the end of the mat. And we're going to take the strap and just wrap it around the arches of the feet. Lengthening the spine up tall, shoulders back and down. Flexing the feet and creating some tension with the strap, pushing the feet into the strap as you pull the strap toward you. Flexing the feet, heels reach away. Pelvis gently tilts forward. You'll feel those hamstrings releasing and lengthen through the spine. Your shoulders might want to come up by your ears, so keep them tucked back and down. And notice what's happening with your chin. Sometimes it wants to come up or out. Just gently pull it toward the throat, lengthening the back of the neck. With your next exhale, let's release. You're welcome to keep the strap, to extend forward, or remove the strap, whatever feels right for you. So legs are soft. Inhale, lengthen. And as you exhale, fold forward, tilting that pelvis forward, softening through the hips, the hamstrings, and the low back. Hands can be on the strap or can move to the legs, floor, or feet. Inhale, lengthening the spine, pressing the hips behind you. Exhale, softening. With your next inhale, lift up tall and release the strap. Bending the knees, bringing the feet about hip width apart. We'll walk the hands behind the hips, fingertips facing toward the hips. Softening the elbows, working with reverse table. Rooting the feet into the mat with your next inhale, lift the hips high. Elbows stay soft. Exhale, lower and hover if that feels okay. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Hold and breathe if that feels okay, or continue coming up and down. Elbows are soft, hips are pressed up high. Head extended out from the spine or chin pulled toward the chest, just not dropping the head on the shoulders. You can stay here, or if you'd like to play a little bit, you can push that right foot into the mat and extend the left leg out. Take a couple of breaths. When you're ready, lowering the left leg, rooting into it, extending out the right. Lowering that right leg and lowering the hips down. We'll shake out the wrists. And then rounding the spine, gently roll the rest of the way down. Extending the legs out, letting the shoulders roll back to the mat. Briefly scan up your body, noticing any parts that feel tired, achy, or sore. Anywhere you might be holding on. Honoring yourself and your body by listening to its messages. Pushing yourself to your edge, but not beyond it. And remembering that each time you do yoga, your body is a little bit different. Let's bend the right leg, floating the hands to the knee as you draw it in toward the chest. Lengthen the neck, shoulders tuck under, soften around the hip. Keeping the left hand on the knee, allow the right arm to fall out to the side, palm facing down. And with your next exhale, gently twist over the left side of the body. Right hip comes off of the mat, foot comes across toward the floor. Vision toward the right arm as much as feels okay for your neck. Releasing the muscles around the hip, easing the spine into the twist. With your next inhale, come back to the center. Extending the leg up toward the sky, take hold behind the hamstrings, calf, or ankle. As you exhale, toes reach toward the ceiling. Inhale, flexing, pressing through the heel. Follow your breath, releasing the front and the back of the leg. Now begin to make slow, gentle circles with your ankle, stretching your foot as far as it can go in each direction, and reversing the circles. Then reaching through the heel, dropping the sitting bone down, gently arching the low back. And then tucking the pelvis, drawing the belly toward the back and the leg toward the torso, just as far as feels okay. Feel free to use a strap here as well to make that more accessible. Reaching through the heel, belly muscles draw down. Stay here, or if it feels okay with your next exhale, lift the head and chest. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Hold and breathe if that feels okay, or continue coming up and down. Belly muscles are strong, neck is nice and long, reaching through the heel. And with your next inhale, lowering the head and chest. Let's bend the knee and bring it gently to the outside of the ribs, lengthening through the spine. Soften around the hip. If it feels okay, you could bring the hand beneath the knee, bringing the sole of the foot to face the ceiling. And if it feels okay, you could also instead bring the arm on the inside of the leg, bringing the hand to the arch of the foot, coming into half happy baby pose. Trying to think of the Sanskrit name, and I could get the Ardra, which is the half, and then I wasn't like, I think it's Ardra Ananda Malasana, but I can't remember for sure. So we'll just go with half happy baby today. Softening through the hip. And if it feels okay, you can play with extending the leg out. And bringing the foot down, extending the leg out. And just taking a breath in and out, noticing what's the same or different from one side to the other. And we'll bend the left knee, floating the hands to the knee, drawing chest, shoulders tuck under, neck is nice and long, softening around the hip. Keeping the right hand on the knee, left arm falls out to the side, palm facing down. And as you exhale, gently twist over the right side of the body. Left hip comes off of the mat, foot comes across toward the floor. Vision toward the left arm as much as feels okay for your neck. Release the muscles around the hip, easing the spine into the twist. With your next inhaling breath, come back to the center. Extending the leg up toward the sky, take hold behind the hamstrings, calf, or ankle. Exhale, toes reach toward the ceiling. Inhale, flexing, pressing through the heel. Follow your breath, releasing the front and the back of the leg. Now begin to make slow, gentle circles with your ankle, stretching your foot as far as it can go in each direction. And reverse the circles. Reaching through the heel, drop the sitting bones down, gently arching the low back. And tucking the pelvis, drawing the leg toward the torso just as far as feels okay. With your next exhaling breath, if it feels okay, lift the head and chest toward the leg. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Hold and breathe if that feels okay, or continue coming up and down. Listening to your body, reaching through the heel, belly muscles are strong, neck is nice and long. And with your next inhale, lowering the head and chest. Exhale, bending the leg. Let's bring the knee to the outside of the ribs. And again, you could slip the left hand behind the knee, bringing the sole of the foot up toward the sky, or bring the arm on the inside of the leg, taking hold of the arch of the foot, softening through the hip, gently letting go. Half happy baby pose. If it feels okay, you can extend the leg out or just play with extending it out. And then gently bending the leg, releasing the foot, extending the leg down. Again, noticing what may be the same or different between both sides. Let's bend our knees, placing the feet on the floor, tucking the shoulders under, arms alongside the body, spreading the toes wide, rooting into the earth with the feet, pressing the shoulders back and down, creating the second end of our bridge. With your next inhaling breath, we'll scoop the pelvis, lifting the spine up one vertebrae at a time. Vision stays toward the sky. And as you come to your exhale, slowly roll the spine down. Inhale, scoop and lift. Exhale, rolling the spine down. We'll do our clock arms like we did last week. So now bring the hands out as if they are at 5 and 7 on the clock. Inhale, scoop and lift the spine, rolling it up. Exhale, rolling down. Arms at 6 and 8, palms still facing down. With your next inhale, scoop and lift. Exhale, rolling down. Turning the palms up, we'll bring the hands at 9 and 3. With your inhale, scoop and lift. And exhale, rolling the spine down. And bringing the arms to 10 and 2. Inhale, scoop and lift. Exhale, rolling the spine Arms at 11 and 1. Inhale, scoop and lift. Exhale, rolling the spine down. And then bringing both arms to 12 o'clock. Inhale, scoop and lift. And exhale, rolling the spine down. We'll float the hands down alongside the body and take a breath in and out. Extending the legs out. We'll move into fish as a counter pose. Rocking the hands underneath the hips, palms facing down, elbows gently out to the side. We'll lift up onto the forearms and then gently arching the spine, we'll drop the head back, bringing the crown of the head to the mat. If that doesn't feel accessible or feel good, you can also bring a block and rest your head onto the block, or if it feels okay for you to let the head hang, you can do that as well. Breathing into the heart, breathing into the throat, releasing the energy, letting it flow. One more breath. With your next inhale, we'll lift the head and exhale, lower the back to the mat. Bending the knees, rocking the hands out from underneath. Let's bring the knees over the torso, hugging them into Apanasana. Breathing into the low belly, breathing into the low back. You can stay here. I'm sorry, that's not what I meant to say. You can either roll to your side with pressing up with your hands or slip your hands behind your knees, kicking your feet over your head and gently rocking up. Sometimes other things want to come out of my mouth. All right, let's come forward onto our hands and knees. And let's have our blocks handy. And if you'd like a blanket under your knees, go ahead and add that. So hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, soft elbows, head extends out from the spine, belly muscles draw up toward the back, strong table pose. Take a breath in and out. With your next inhale, lift the tailbone, drop the spine, lift the chin. Exhale, tuck the tailbone round the spine, drop the chin. Inhale, lifting, spine follows. Exhale, rounding. Follow your breath. Once more. And with your next inhale, let's come back to table pose. Let's bring the blocks in line with your arms and we'll rest the forearms on the blocks. And then gently drop the head down just as far as feels okay. So it's a version of reclined puppy, but it's going to be a little bit more intense on the shoulders, kind of helping them to open. If this feels like too much, you can also bring the blocks down to their lower height or go ahead and rest the forearms on the floor. So doing what feels right for you. If it feels okay, you can kind of actively rotate the arms out, rolling the shoulder blades back toward each other. Notice where you're holding on and see if you can let go a little more. We'll take one more breath. With your next inhale, lifting the head, bringing the hands onto the blocks and then onto the mat. We'll move the blocks up a little just to give yourself some room. And we'll work with threading the needle. So we'll inhale, sweeping the right arm up toward the sky. And as you exhale, thread that right arm underneath the left, resting the right shoulder and right side of the head onto the mat. And then think about pulling back away from the shoulder. So for a long time, I taught this as just kind of sinking into the shoulder. And then I realized through taking another class that I can, if we pull back away from the shoulder, then that's where we get that stretch around the shoulder blade. So it's like creating a little traction with the arm. So you can keep the left hand on the mat. You can bring the left arm up toward the sky and or toward the low back. You can also drop the arm over the ear, bringing the fingertips to the mat. So find what gives you the most of what you need from the pose in this moment. Breathing into the back of the shoulder. And bringing the left hand back to the mat. Pressing into it as we lift up, sweeping that right arm up. And then floating the right hand back to the mat. Softening the elbows, tuning into the shoulders, noticing what may be the same or different. With your next inhale, let's sweep the left arm up. And as you exhale, thread that left arm underneath the right, bringing the left side of the body, or left shoulder and left side of the head to the mat. Then gently pulling back away from the left arm. You can stay here with the right hand or lift it up toward the sky, bringing the hand toward the low back, or let the arm drop over the ear, coming onto the fingertips. Whichever version brings you what you need today. And we'll bring that right hand back to the mat, pressing into it, lift up, sweeping the arm out, and then floating the hand back down. We'll bring the blocks underneath our hands. And let's step forward with the right foot. So coming into a low lunge. And when we use the blocks, you can use them at the higher level or at the lower level or medium, whatever feels supportive for you today. But using them kind of alleviates the having to reach all the way to the floor, and we can focus a little bit more on our hips. So lengthening through the spine, let's think about pressing the right hip back, left hip forward. And now let's think about drawing the right heel toward the left knee energetically. So creating that isometric motion. Holding that through a couple of breaths. And then gently softening now, releasing through the front of the left hip, lifting the heart, making sure the hips aren't opening to the left side too much, so that we're really getting a nice stretch through the front of that left hip. Now gently rock the right hip back, lengthening the spine. And if it feels okay, lifting the toes. Really sitting back into that right hip, feeling those hamstrings release. And gently coming back onto the sole of the foot. Let's bend the left leg behind us, just as far as feels okay. You can stay there, or if it feels okay, you could reach the right hand back, or even reach a strap back. And then gently pull the leg toward the torso, toward the back, just as far as feels okay. Helps us get a little deeper into the hip flexors if our knees allow. And then we'll release, bring that right knee back, kind of rock those hips side to side, noticing how that feels. And then we'll step through with the left foot. Again, keeping the hands on the blocks or adjusting the block height, whatever feels right. Sometimes it's different from one side to the other. Let's bring the right hip back, left hip forward gently, lifting the heart. And then again, energetically drawing that left heel and right knee toward each other. Feeling that engagement in the inner groin muscles. You may notice it somewhere else too. I'm feeling on the outside of my left hip at the moment as well. And with your next exhale, we'll release that and soften, dropping that right hip down, keeping the left knee stacked over the ankle. Breathing into the front of the right hip. Again, not opening the hip to the side, but really trying to keep them relatively square to the front of the mat, not overly so. Gently rocking the hip back, pressing through that left hip, and if it feels okay, rolling the toes up, releasing all the way down into the calf. I just noticed my shoulders were all scrunched up by my ears, so notice maybe what yours might be doing. See what other body parts are holding on while we're working on releasing this. See if we can soften them. And coming back to the sole of the foot, dropping the hip down and bending the right leg behind us this time. just as far as feels okay. And if it feels accessible, you could bring that left hand or the strap back to the right leg, drawing the leg toward the back of the body as much as feels okay. Notice where you feel any tightness that can be let go through this stretch. And then we'll release the leg, bring the left knee back. We'll place the hands on the block, and let's do a downward dog with the blocks just for fun today, something different. Softening the knees, reaching back through the hips. Letting the heels float low. Often when we have our hands under the blocks, it allows the heels to get a little closer to the mat. And we'll gently shift into a plank. Belly muscles draw up. You can bring the knees down again if needed. And shifting back into downward dog. And then we'll walk our feet up toward the blocks. Bringing the feet hip width, you might need to spread your blocks a little wider. Soften the knees, release down. Rooting into the feet, lifting up through the sitting bones. Releasing the back of the neck. Soften the knees, inhale, sweeping the arms up, palms together over the head, and exhale, hands to the heart. So we'll set the blocks to the side for a moment, and blanket if you have that, and go ahead and grab your strap. Oh. And we'll bring it a little wider than arm's length apart. Sorry, a little wider than shoulder width apart. Those were the words I was going for. Rooting into our feet, let's lift the strap up over our head. And then softening the shoulders, tucking the shoulders down the back, letting it go back as far as feels okay. The wider you have it, the further you can go here. And lifting with an inhale. Exhale, lowering in front. Inhale, lifting up over the head. Exhale, lowering to the back as far as feels okay. Again, widening those arms as much as you need to. Inhale, lift. And as you exhale, let's reach to the right side. Inhale, center. Notice if your knees have locked and soften them. Exhale. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. This time we're going to keep hips forward and exhale, twisting the ribs to the right. Inhale, center. And exhale, twisting to the left. Back center. Let's do once more on each side with the twist. And then exhale, lowering the arms and the strap. We'll gently let that go. Let's bring our legs nice and wide. We'll turn the heels to the inside, so our toes are pointing toward the front corners of the mat. Bringing the hands to the crease of the hip. We'll lower the hips down like we're riding on a horse. Spine is nice and tall. You can even bounce a little if you want, like you're riding the horse. Spread those toes wide. If it feels okay, you can practice lifting one heel and then the other. If it feels okay, you could lift both heels, rooting through the ball of the feet and the big toe. You can stay here or bring the hands to the heart. Or if you'd like to move into the goddess stupa pose, bend the elbows and wrists with the palms facing up, tucking the shoulders down back. Dropping the hips just as far as feels okay. And we'll lower the heels, bring the hands to the knees, drop the hips a little bit more. And then lifting up tall. Let's bring the toes toward facing the long end of the mat now. We'll inhale the arms up over the head. Exhale, swan diving, bringing the spine out. Hands come under the shoulders. Soften through the knees, lifting up through the sitting bones. Rooting and lifting. Lengthening through the low back and allowing the head and chest to come toward the mat if that feels okay. Neck is nice and long. Let's bring the hands over toward the right foot. And we're going to bend that right knee, coming into a side lunge. So just as far as feels okay. If your knees are feeling like it will work today, you could also drop the hip down to the heel, coming in, completely lost the name of the pose, coming all the way down into the extended version of this pose that I can't remember the name of at the moment. All right, then let's shift back to the center. Shifting the weight to the left, bringing our hands over to that left side. Bending that left knee just as far as feels okay, feeling that stretch to the inner groin. And again, if it feels okay for your knee, dropping the hip down toward the heel, but really listening to your body. And again, shifting back to the center. Pressing through both feet, lifting through the sitting bones. We'll walk the feet closer toward each other, stopping just outside of hip width apart. If you'd like to use a block for Malasana squat, you can bring that to the center behind the heels at whatever height feels best for you. Dropping the hips down, lifting the torso, and bringing the hands to the heart. You can work with a high Malasana, actively pushing into the feet. Or if it feels okay or feels better for you today, you can bring the hips down toward the block or heels. If you've lowered down, you can press the elbows or upper arms into the knees or thighs, opening the hips. Lengthen through the spine. Shoulders are sliding down the back. When you're ready, gently lowering the rest of the way down. If you haven't come down already. And then let's open the legs nice and wide, wide-legged forward bend. Bringing the hands to the center to begin with. We'll gently walk the arms forward just as far as feels okay. You can always use a block here too to rest the arms or the forehead on. Whatever feels best for you. Just taking a moment to release into the pose without effort. And gently coming up. We'll bring the knees together, round the spine, give our bodies a little hug. Perhaps some gratitude for all that it has offered us today. And then we'll come back to a cross-legged position. Lengthening through the spine, shoulders back and down. Inhale, reaching through the crown of the head. Exhale, dropping the right ear over the right shoulder, tucking the right shoulder back and down. Breathing into the left side of the neck. With your next inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, lowering the left ear over the left shoulder, tucking the shoulder back and down. Breathing to the right side of the neck. With your next inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, turning the chin over the right shoulder. Shoulders are back and down. Heart is lifted. And with your next inhale, come back to the center. And as you exhale, turn the chin over the left shoulder. Hold and breathe. Shoulders back and down. Heart lifted. And with your next inhale, come back to the center. And letting the breath go. Let's bend the knees in front of us, coming to the center of the mat. Rounding the spine, dropping the chin. We'll roll the spine back, one vertebrae at a time, using those belly muscles. Lengthening through the spine. Let's bend the knees, lifting the feet up toward the sky. You could rock your hands or a block underneath the hips, supporting the legs in Viparita Karani. Lengthening through the neck, softening the ankles and knees. Breathing into the belly. Inversions allow us to have a different perspective on the world, whether we do them lying down or standing. I'll bend the knees, rocking the hands or block out from underneath the hips. Hugging the knees in once again to Apanasana, this time rocking gently from side to side if that feels good for your back. And if you'd like, you can make small circles with the low back by bringing the knees gently in and out. And reversing those circles if you're making them. Coming back to center for one last twist, we'll bring the arms out at shoulder height, palms facing down. And as you exhale, dropping the knees to the right, vision to the left. Releasing through the spine. With your next inhale, come back to center. And exhale, dropping the knees to the left, vision to the right. Releasing the spine. With your next inhale, come back to the center, lowering the feet down, extending the legs out into Shavasana, if that feels okay for your back. You can also bring the feet out to the edges of the mat and rest the knees together. If you're feeling cool, go ahead and cover up gently with a blanket as well. Keeping the warmth in our body can help us relax a little more. Tucking the shoulders under. Arms slightly away from the body with the palms turned up. Relax your forehead. Soften your eyes. Loosen your jaw. Gently bring your awareness back to the breath. Allowing each inhale to fill you with a sense of peace and calm. Allowing each exhale to release anything that no longer serves you. If you would like to receive Reiki energy during this Shavasana, please open yourself to receive it now. If not, just let it fall back to the earth. Let the breath bring you back to your heart center, reconnecting with the light and joy that always reside deep within your heart. Let each breath fill your heart with loving kindness for yourself, sending that loving kindness to each and every cell of your body. Honoring all of who you are in this moment. Gently begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Stretch in whatever way feels comfortable for you. When you're ready, you can gently bend your knees, roll to one side, and rest there for a moment. And then gently return to a seated position. We'll end with a metta blessing of loving kindness. Please feel free to join in. May all beings be safe. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings have peace. May all beings awaken to the light of their true nature. May all beings be free. The light in me honors the light in you. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. For our world, for our community, and for ourselves. Well, thank you all so much for joining me today.